Well, if you missed the Wisconsin hockey team series against Boston College this past weekend at the Kohl Center, you missed some entertaining hockey. A 3-1 victory for Wisconsin on Friday night. Matt Jerusik made 29 saves. Seamus Malone, a beautiful goal, and Ryan Wagner had the game winner. Then on Sunday, Wisconsin fell behind 10 seconds in, trailed 6-2 at one point, then scored 3 unanswered goals, 2 highlight reel goals from Cameron Hughes and Ryan Wagner. But BC with a couple of empty netters, and the Eagles left with a series split. Now Wisconsin gets ready for an exhibition game against the U.S. under-18 team. I'm Brian Posick, the radio voice of Wisconsin hockey, and head coach Tony Granato joins us next on the Badger Hockey Digest.
This is Lexi Rush. She's 10, and she's amazing. You see, Lexi was born deaf and couldn't hear anything. That was until her doctor in Appleton referred her to the pediatric specialists at UW in Madison. Now, 2 operations later, Lexi can hear everything. Powerful minds, compassionate care, amazing results. UW Health. Remarkable.
Joined by Badgers head coach Tony Granato. Wisconsin, a series split with Boston College this past weekend, a 3-1 win on Friday, 8-5 loss on Sunday. But you won 2 every single weekend, don't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're a top team for sure. I don't think there's any question they'll finish being a top team, as the season goes along. So I respect them. I thought, where we're at in the season, it was a good measuring stick to know that we can play with them. But I also thought that when the game was on the line, in the first game we found ways to win it, and then in the second game, I think we weren't ready to play 60 minutes. I think we went out, and if it went our way, we would have went with it. And when things didn't go our way, we kind of got, into some sloppy habits. And then fortunately for us in the third period, we saw a lot of character, and the guys stepped forward and battle to try and get back in the game. And we did get back in the game, and we pulled 6-5. So there were a lot of positives in it. But I think we can be a more complete team. I think we can be a more complete team now.
Yeah, there were a lot of positives and a lot of goals, 4 highlight reel goals. On Friday night, Seamus Malone walked around 2 BC defenders, if you will, followed up his own shot and roofed it, and certainly a pretty goal there. And then 3 fantastic goals on Sunday.
Seconds to go in the period. Badgers with a puck on the power play. Oh, put in front, redirected. Frederick, he scores. Madison Friday night for the first time since he left school. Wagner worked through people. Now up from his knees, he scores. Here's Wisconsin's Hughes with a pretty good check. Outlet pass stolen by Bessie. Put it in front, backhand, oh, right between the legs. Hughes scores. Oh, wow.
It was a highlight reel goal. In fact, the highlight of the night on ESPN Sports Center Top 10. Those were fun to watch, and it just shows the skill that those young men have.
They are, and that one you saw in the top 10 for that night might be in the top 10 for the year. That was Cameron. You just made a play that you don't see players even do that in practice anymore, and I don't know that he could have scored that goal any other way than what he did. And to do it so smoothly and put it, really in the only spot he could, right underneath the bar, was really, really a fun goal to watch. And I think what you just said, our forwards have continuously, night after night, made exceptional plays that they wow you. They make you stand up out of your seat and say, "Holy cow! What did I just see here?" So we got a lot of skill up front. And I think it's important that we allow those guys to keep developing and keep making plays like that.
Yeah. I asked Ryan Wagner which goal he thought was the best of the weekend.
Definitely Cameron. I mean, mine was a little nifty goal, but Cameron's definitely overshadowed mine by far. I mean, top 10 on Sports Center. I mean, he gained 150 followers on Instagram. I mean, it was a good goal, but I mean, JD had a nice one too. I mean, guys were fine out there, and it was fun to watch, but definitely Cameron's.
The funniest thing is I literally did that. I tried that in practice on Thursday, and it didn't work. I missed, but the same end, everything. I tried it. I think that's what Jed came up to me and asked. He's like, what the funny thing is? I saw you do that in practice. So there's a few guys that do it. I know Matt used to ask you, does it all the time. he does get a long reach. So I think Coonsey tried it actually today in practice too. So it's a fun little move, and when it works out, it's kind of nice.
Now, I like Ryan's dirty type play. You know, I mean, he'll get down and dirty. If he's on the seat of his pants on his head, he's going to find a way to get the puck.
Third, fourth, or fifth effort?
Yeah,
he
right,
got knocked down,
yeah.
rolled over, got himself up to a knee, and stuck with
He's
it.
a Chicago kid. That's how they play,
well,
right, Tony?
Well, it says a lot about his undersize. He's always been, fighting against the size battle, and the only way you can play in our league or the NHL or elite hockey is when you're undersized, is to be a competitive little bugger, and certainly that play right there showed you what he's all about.
Yep. Badgers have an exhibition game on Friday night against the United States under-18 team, and then back into regular season action the following weekend out east in New York against St. Lawrence and Clarkson. More with the Badgers head coach in just a moment on the Badger Hockey Digest.
This is what collaboration looks like. This is what happens when a cardiologist in Appleton works step in step with specialists at UW Health in Madison. You see, when Terry's condition required a second opinion, his doctor turned to the cardiothoracic team at UW Health. Together, we made sure Terry got the care and the heart transplant he needed. Powerful minds, compassionate care, amazing results. UW Health, remarkable.
Another young man that stood out this past weekend against Boston College was freshman Trent Frederick, a first-round draft pick of the Boston Bruins, a St. Louis native. A lot of good players coming out of that St. Louis area. And Trent had a goal and 4 points on Sunday, and off to a good start with 2 goals and 6 points in 4 games. You can see why Boston selected him in the first round, number 29 overall. He can do so many things, and maybe doesn't know the potential or the ability that he has in that young frame.
Well, I think his role when he played with the U.S. development team, he was behind some really high-end guys that went in front of him in the draft. They were really dynamic offensive players, and he kind of settled into a two-way forward with the U.S. team. And I think he's an exceptional two-way forward, but he has exceptional offensive skill as well. And he certainly has showed us that through the first 4 games. So he's strong on the puck. He's big. He's poised. You saw the pass he made to J.D. on that goal, how poised he is. He's good on faceoffs. He's a smart penalty killer. So he's going to be an elite player, and he's maturing very fast. To jump into college hockey and have 2 weekends like he has shows that he put a lot of work into the offseason to be ready, and certainly showed all the skill that he has had so far.
Yeah, Trent Frederick from the National Team Development Program, along with J.D. Greenway, who will continue to get better. But you bring in the under-18 team on Friday night, and you know the wealth of talent that the USA program gets. So, and you've got a few young men on that roster, too, that you'll get to see that'll be Wisconsin Badgers here very soon.
Yeah, it's a great group of players. And Austin Matthews was the first pick in the draft and had 4 goals in his first game with the Maple Leafs. He was part of that program a couple years ago, and there's so many great kids that have come out of there now. So I think the fans will really enjoy the young skill. They're a team that, will probably have a lot of guys not only playing college hockey in the next 1 or 2 years, but also guys that'll jump into the NHL real soon. So it'll be a fun group to play against, and I'm sure they'll be ready to have a good showing here.
Yeah, and then you'll play regular season action the following weekend out east, but you're still learning about your team. It's going to take a little bit of time. Oftentimes we hear that, until December rolls around or the second semester, you really kind of get a gauge of what your team might be all about. It's going to take a little time, right?
Well, I know I like a lot about our team. I think that's the most important thing, is finding things you like. The things that, I know there's areas we can improve on. I think the obvious one is we have to be better defensively. But I think the overall picture on the things that we've seen, it's going to be a fun team to coach because they're dynamic. We saw the goals. Mm-hmm. We saw some of the plays they can make offensively. You saw us get, down 6-2 to make it 6-5. We have that fight in us. And I think that's what we're trying to just keep them in positions to find a way to get better every single day. And today we talked about competitiveness for 60 minutes. And, like I said, we had spurts of that weekend that were outstanding, but now we need to make sure that we can figure out ways on how to sustain more energy and more compete into our game.
Yeah, and to tie together defense and something positive about this club so far, your penalty kill has been exceptional, about 92%. And that's defense. That's a 4-man unit, 5-man unit with a goaltender that's finding ways to block shots and limit scoring chances. And if there are scoring chances, don't give them a second or third on rebound chances.
And we've been very good at that. I think, like you said, we've been willing to be in the shot block lanes. We saw Cam Hughes block a few. You saw Linhart block a big one. You've seen Wagner. You've seen everybody, sacrifice themselves to make big blocks, and that builds energy in your team and carries over into 5-on-5 after the kill. And I thought that, through the first 2 weeks, our guys have grasped a lot of the grasped. Is that the right word? Thank you.
Yep.
Grasp a lot of the concepts that we've tried to teach them on the PK. So that's a positive thing. We'll continue to add things as we go along to see if we can get even better.
All right, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Brian.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Badgers head coach Tony Granato. Again, the United States under-18 team comes to Madison for a game on Friday night. Face-off is at 7:05. We'll have it for you on the Badger Sports Network with pregame coverage at 6:30. For Tony Granato, I'm Brian Posick. Thanks for watching the Badger Hockey Digest.